for me, entrepreneurship has always been the way.
Investing is important because it's the only way you are going to be able to get rich and wealthy for your family. We can close the wealth gap by working together.
Market Monday is the biggest investment show ever.
My life has literally changed since watching EYL.
When you can make people money and you can add value, they're going to be forever indebted to you.
And I promise you this year, I'm going to make y'all even more money.
Well, did we keep our promise? Did we make you more money this year?
Big facts.
Big facts, man. Happy Monday. Welcome back. Hopefully everybody is sitting in a comfort of their own home or somebody else's home or listening at work, man. It's been a hell of a 2025. Market Mondays is here. We live, y'all. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Chat, what's up?
Chat, what's popping? Shotty, Troy, greetings and salutations. How y'all feeling?
Great, man.
Yeah, man, how you?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Hell of a 25, my brother.
For sure. 26. Even better, God willing.
Scaling looks likely.
Perpetual scaling.
Perpetual scaling looks
but
likely.
Don't give up all your rights in the scale. Please.
Please.
I'm begging you.
Please. Valuable lesson, man. Christmas week, how we feeling? We got any shopping anxiety? Where we at with this?
Yeah, I'm going Muslim next year. Rashad, send me the phone. Salaikum salam. Oh, teach me, my brother. Next year.
You said 1%, right?
For real. 5%, anything, any percent. My Lord. Peace to the God. I'm to all of it. Keys.
They say, now remember all that money. 1%.
Cap. Those are capital gains.
Oh man, we are here. Shout out to all the kids that are home from school. Shout out to the parents that are off from work. It's that time of the year. We're closing out the year. Last episode of Market Mondays is weird because I know next Monday we're gonna be sitting like, yo, what are we supposed to do?
Enjoy the family. Friendship.
That's a fact. Shotty, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. Shout out to everybody out there checking in with us. We got a busy week. Closing out the year strong. We got on Blackout 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Carrie Champion.
Hey, legend, icon.
She'll be a guest on Blackout. And then Thursday is Christmas, but we got a special bonus episode that we're gonna put out midday, 12 o'clock. So while you home, if you want to just tap in real short, like 30 minutes. But when we was in Senegal, we interviewed a real estate developer. And we actually put it on Instagram and the tour. But like, remember that tour we took at $1 million penthouse?
Oh yeah.
That guy that gave us the tour. So we actually sat down with him and we spoke about not just Senegal, but just investing Africa, real estate, the whole thing. So we're gonna put that out on Christmas Day, 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Day. Like I said, you got time, you know, home, got some downtime in between the basketball games. Check it out. So that's gonna be out. And then after that, then we take off. Next week, no content. There's no EYL. There's no Market Mondays. There's no Blackout.
No stock.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Next week. Next week is the down week for us. We black out really, and then we come back January 5th with all new
back
everything.
at it.
So yeah, man, tap in all this week. It's gonna be good shows. Market Mondays, Blackout. Like I said, Cherry Champion. Thursday. We got the brother from Senegal, real estate developer, really doing his thing. And while you have time next week, we're going to talk about different things that you should do to prepare for 2026, but catch up on some old episodes and subscribe to the audio podcast, Market Mondays, Earn Your Leisure, Blackout. Subscribe to the audio podcast when you're in your car driving.
Yep.
Or watch the YouTube and, take some time to think about 2026.
Yeah. We've been cooking up too. We shot some dope pieces over the past couple of weeks. So we got some dope stuff, more content on the way in 2026. Shout out to everybody that pulled up to the class on Thursday. We went over some things, man. shout out to Dahuda, shout out to Steph, shout out to Austin. Incredible class. We was in there for 3 hours, man, and showed what happened in 2025. They said I tapped into my inner Rashad and Ian And I said, yo, sometimes you just got to do that. You got to pop out and show it. So we did that. And shout out to everybody that's in Red Panda as well. Our Just Dot Club Close was crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
It's been a hell of a year, man. So let's make sure that we turn 26 into something even more incredible.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into it. First and foremost, happy holidays to everybody that's observing Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, to all the Israelites out there. Any holiday that you observe during this course of time, if you observe it, then hopefully you have a joyous time with your family, and then we won't be seeing you guys to New Year's. So happy New Year's in advance also.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before we get started, man, y'all know how this works.
Oh, Ian, you want to say something?
Yeah, Red Panda Trading Tournament, January 5th. Be ready. I know you got the holidays. Happy holidays. Salute. That starts January 5th. But until the new year, I'm off the grid, spending time with family and friends. So if you send me a message about investing, I probably will not reply until the new year. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Red Panda, let me get some pandas in chat, and let's have an amazing show.
I want a lot of you guys in chat, a lot of pandas in chat, man.
Yep. Listen the first time.
Yeah, we can't take these moments for granted. All right, y'all know how this works, man. This is our disclaimer. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Do the research, continue to do the research, share the research, show love. Let's build community. Let's build our brokerage accounts. Let's build wealth. Let's do it together, man. We all we got.
We all we got. But if you calling about a Christmas gift or a favor and we're not family or friends, believe the rumors online. I don't have no money. No.
You got some random calls?
What?
I got a few random calls. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little busy.
What?
I'm at the karate tournament right now.
No dinero. Mi amigo. Mi hermano. Nope.
Yes, sir.
Remember when? Oh, real quick. Happy heavenly birthday to my grandmother. Today's would have been her birthday. Happy birthday. I know my parents are watching. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday. God bless. Okay, let's get into it. Also, NVIDIA, the emails have been sent for Group A. Please respond if you have not responded yet. The Group A trip. Group B, we will be sending emails, but the Group B, that trip is in the spring. So you have time. But we'll be sending the emails to Group B also too very soon. And we'll also be sending correspondence for the mastermind in DC. But the Group A, everybody that got that email, check your email, double check your email. Most people responded. I think there's only like a few people that have not responded. So
yeah,
we'll be following up with you, whoever did not respond, but make sure you respond so we can have an accurate head count for that. Okay. What are some of the biggest mistakes investors can make in 2026?
I want to be very honest and get back to the old style of how I used to be things and super blunt about it. Number one is not making the decision next year to acquire 2,000 or 3,000 shares for yourself personally. I know some people are going to say I don't have the capital to do it, but find a way. Because I think next year is probably going to be the most interesting year in investing that we've had probably since 2020. Number two, double down on what your freedom number is and put a lot of cash into making that a reality. They just told you they're working like crazy. Shout out to the interviews y'all got coming out. I won't say nothing. But they're working hard. Magic Johnson told you at InvestFest. Gary V working hard. Peter Thiel, every top entrepreneur is busting ass right now. And that's because there's going to be a seismic change that comes in 26 and 27. Now is not the time to play or get comfortable with every success you have accumulated from 2020 through now, because you're going to need more in 26 and 27. Lastly, I will say you got to block out all the noise. All that noise is online. I would say this, and Rashad and I talked about it on Blackout. Troy does an amazing job of it, of staying off social. You probably need to spend 60% less time on social media in 2026. Jake Paul ran up 100 million, and Anthony Joshua ran up 90, but he got to pay 45 in taxes. These big numbers are being thrown around for a reason. So I'm begging you right now, lock in for 2026. And I want everyone to put in chat, what is your freedom number for 2026? But what do you guys think biggest mistakes are? Let's just talk like it's us.
Yeah, biggest mistakes. I think trading off a hearsay. Like it's like that meme stock craze, but a little bit more elevated than that. It's like, yo, I saw this company, or I heard them say this company, let me just invest in it, not really knowing anything from a technical side, fundamentals. Like I'm just doing it. I think a lot of times when people get early success, they think that short-term success can lead into long-term wealth strategy. And they start doing things like overtrading, start taking, same-day options trades, not having any idea, just trying to replicate the feeling of what they had in that short-term win. And that's when people lose money. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that more and more. And I think if we don't get it right, if we're not disciplined, if we don't have a proper approach, if we don't have a plan, it's only going to get worse. Mm-hmm. Because, and even when talking to Vlad and we're talking about predictive markets, people are treating their brokerage account like it's FanDuel or it's DraftKings, and it's not. And so you gotta be disciplined about this, but you actually have to know. Mm-hmm. Knowing is important. Like, we can overstate it, and we can. It's important to know what you're investing in. Yes, get to 1,000 shares. Let's start with getting to 5 and understanding what the company you just invested in does. Mm-hmm. Right, because the more understanding you have, the more education you have around it, the more conviction you have when people start to doubt what you're saying. Yep. I'm only speaking from experience, right? Like, literally, you've seen this over the past 6 years. We say something, I'm not budging on that because I believe in what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And if it's a great company that doesn't have a great year, fine. But a lot of times these are great companies that are having great years because there's conviction and education behind it. So be disciplined in it. Don't gossip, trade, right? Really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Shadi, what you think top mistakes that people can make in 2026?
Well, I wanted to do something. I actually put together a list of things that people should do.
Okay, I love it.
So, yeah, because I think that's important to kind of have some level of a blueprint. The biggest mistake, I think, is not having a plan. So with that being said, I put together 10 things I think everybody should do in 2026. And that's the first thing is put together a budget. And few budgeting apps for you if you're interested. YNAB, you need a budget. Monarch Money, Rocket Money, Capital Money, Every Dollar, Pocket Guard, Good Budget, and Simplified by Quicken. So, I mean, you could, what I used to do is just pen and paper.
Yeah, write it out.
I think that's the best way. But if you actually want some level of like digital help in it, those are all sites that you can use or apps that you can use for budgeting. That's the first thing. The second thing is to set up a systematic dollar cost averaging plan to invest every single month, especially if you're first starting out. So whether that's the 15th, usually it should be around the time you get paid. So if you get paid on the 12th, then try to do it on the 15th. Mm-hmm. Set up a retirement account if you don't have one. And if you do have one, try to contribute more so you can benefit from the tax savings from that. Review all your beneficiaries. That's important.
That's a good one.
Not just life insurance, but also even like your bank account and brokerage account and anything that you have that's going to get passed on to somebody. Review the beneficiaries. Keep the beneficiaries updated because you never know. Commit to your education. I recommend one documentary a week and one book every 60 days.
That's dope.
So that would be that. I don't think that's too hard to accomplish, especially you could listen to an audio book, but that average person, they said, doesn't read any books a year. And I think the average CEO reads like 2 books a month.
Yeah.
So if you start to really dedicate to one book every 60 days, that's 6 books a year. You're off to a good start. And like I said, the documentary, I think the documentaries, they just expand your horizon and have you think a little differently. And it's so many great documentaries that you can just find on YouTube and Netflix. So one documentary a week, one book every 60 days. Map out your goal for the next 12 months, but do it I think everybody should read the book 12-Week Year.
Yeah, it's a really good book.
you don't just map out your goal and just say, I want to make $100,000. I want to make $500,000. That's not really a goal. That's a wish. There's actually a systematic way to actually go about that. We broke this down at EY University, but that book actually explains it. How the purpose of the book is that you break the year into micro years.
Yeah.
And you have like goals, like weekly goals, bi-weekly goals that helps you get to the goal quicker. And then you actually have to list the action steps of how you're actually going to accomplish the goal. Because like I said, I'm gonna make $500,000 a year. What does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a goal. Like I said, that's a wish. You got to actually list out the actionable steps that you need to take to make $500,000 a year. Then you got to hold yourself accountable on a short-term basis, preferably weekly, to see if you're actually hitting those numbers or not. So everybody should commit to that.
Or have accountability partners in there.
Yeah, for sure. Commit to 2 travel trips this year for business and networking purposes solely. So vacation, I don't think should be a top priority. If you listen to a variety of different billionaires, a very common theme is that they said that they have not taken vacation in a long time. They didn't take a vacation for the first 20 years. Even now, like I don't really take too many vacations. We travel a lot, but it's for business.
Work first. Yep.
Map out of course, InvestFest should definitely be on your list, but map out where you're going to go this year, because you got to get out your comfort zone. You got to get inspired. And you got to meet new people, and traveling really does help accelerate your growth. So two business trips this year. Set a diet and workout plan. Vitally important. I think you should be working out at least 4 times a week, 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
And eating is just as important. Me, myself, I just stopped eating after 8 o'clock. You got to really be conscious of the food that you put in your body, because it definitely plays a part in your productivity. Commit to 3 hours a day of earning more money. Now, this might be something that a lot of people might have some level of pushback, but if you want to change your life, sometimes you got to do drastic changes. And I'm not saying anything that I personally didn't do myself, but I feel like most people need to find ways to make more money. So it's only 3 ways. You either start a business, you get another job, or you invest in your education. And you're actually picking up a new skill, or you have a higher level of degree that's going to, either one of those things is going to require extra time out of your day. So like I said, I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to take at least 3 hours a day. To be completely honest, it's probably going to take more, but we'll start with that. You're going to have to commit at least 3 hours of your day over and above.
To learning something.
To learn something, to work on your business, or actually just to get another job. But you got to make more money, because if you don't have the money, then you're not going to be able to invest. So that's a big one. Then the last thing is what you said before: try to limit your social media time to 1 hour a day max, because a lot of that is hindering your ability to grow because you're spending too much time on social media. So those are my 10 things that I would advise people to do for 2026 if you want to change your life business wise and make more money. You have to run an efficient operation.
I love the list. And even for you high earners, need a budget. Even for you high earners, you need to learn something else, because the way this economy is going, they're forcing everyone to be entrepreneurs. So whether you're in corporate or you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have to evolve and learn new skill sets. Like this is a new era of entrepreneurship that we're in now. You can't take that 80s style of playing basketball and use it now into the era that we're in.
I don't think you can take the 2020 style.
It's like 2 lifetimes almost.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the people and a lot of entrepreneurs that we saw step into the space. The game plan that they had during that pandemic, it doesn't exist anymore. So how do you adjust? How do you figure out a new way? A lot of people haven't figured out a new way, or they're in the process of trying to figure out how to do it, right? Yeah. So and I know people will watch social media and oh, I'm aspiring to do that, or look at them, they've done that. A lot of them don't have a plan. They didn't have a budget, right? And so now it's how do I save myself from showing the people exactly I'm back to where I started, which is tough.
And I know they say you got to learn how to build a plane on the way down, but that's bullshit that they say to entrepreneurs to not give you real advice. You have to have the plan and make sure that the plane flies for a long period of time before you launch it. They'll tell you a lot of BS that does not work. This is why the show is so valuable. They'll tell you that opposed to what to invest in, what systems to build, what coding software to implement into your business, what agents to build inside of your business. and be careful of the business advice that you take. Because a lot of people who are starting to skate into this category because the entertainer thing didn't work and they see a bag here. Be careful to who you listening to. Is what respectfully to everybody.
Respectfully, but please.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's my 10.
So is that
10?
So that 10 inside there, if they're not doing those things, that's the biggest mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, the mistakes is not having a plan. So that was my segue of because you could say like you don't have a plan, but then people's like, well, what does that mean? Once again, that's like having a goal.
Yeah.
Like saying like, oh, such a goal. Have a plan. What is a plan? What's the plan? Well, that's the plan.
There goes your plan.
That's a plan. That's not the only plan, but that would be a plan that I would recommend that I think. And look, you might not be able to accomplish all 10 of those, but you fall short 7.
Which one's going to be the
6.
toughest for you?
For me?
Yeah. I'm going to go with number 10.
Well, social media is my occupation, so that's a little different. So unless there's always differences. If you're an influencer, you can't be on social media 1 hour a day. If you earn money from social media, but most people are using social media. They might not necessarily be earning money. They're not earning money, or it's not their occupation. So that's the thing that it's definitely harmful for sure. Regardless, even if it is your occupation, it's harmful. Like it's a lot of harmful things, but it's a necessary evil for the time being. And there's a lot of good in social media.
There's a lot of good. I'm almost at the point with Sundays I don't go on at all.
That's smart. But to my team, I love you. But if I'm paying a premium, be my brain and produce more for me so I can pay you more. That's all the conversation we got to have. Everyone wants the high-end, high-ticket shit. Are you delivering a high enough return to where it's easier to continue to pay a high ticket?
Do more so I can pay you more. There you go.
Absolutely. I shouldn't even have to, but I love my team, so it's not to y'all. But if you're working with people, deliver such a high return that they don't even have, and to solutions. If you can figure out for a corporation how to implement agentic AI or agentic copy or marketing or sales or investing, that's how you're going to get to 2 and 3 million in a year easily. There's not enough people who are having solutions around many ideas. And you can just scour Threads, Instagram, Twitter, and see some of those pain points and just do what we did. Hey, give it for free. A lot of y'all hate the intern. Like, I love when Kanye even said, I want to go intern for Louis Vuitton. People thought he was crazy. Well, it helps to learn the system. If you give it away for free, now you have your results, and the results that you can then take to a new client and then charge them $100,000 for it, $300,000, 1.5. Get the result first.
Yeah. Learn to create the plan, develop the skill, leverage the skill, execute on it. Do it.
Book recommendation, You Deserve to Be Rich.
Come on, stop it. Y'all know that.
You Deserve to Be Rich, New York Times bestseller if you're interested. And one of those 6 books, few book recommendations, but one, You Deserve to Be Rich definitely is up there. Like I said, the 12-week year, I think that's something that's very helpful and beneficial if you're trying to really maximize how to actually format setting goals and being more organized with your life.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Business, Ego is the Enemy. Shout out to
great book.
My brother Jabbar. He gave us that book 6 years ago. He brought a gift, and that was the book that he gave me. Great book. I suggest anybody in business, because a lot of times people are trying to do something and be solo entrepreneur, like solopreneurs, and they're like, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Do it together.
Yeah.
Figure out how you can do it and scale together. Find somebody that has a skill set that you don't, a strength that you don't, and figure out how to build together.
So what is
any book by Cal Newport is on time efficiency as an entrepreneur? Amazing.
What is the outlook for 2026 in the market?
It's going to be tumultuous, but I think it'll end positive, and then 2027, then we'll have Iceberg Slim show up. The most important lesson that I need you guys to know for 2026, whether we have a deep decline or we're flat, your job is to accumulate as many assets as possible. Now you got to be an asset hoarder. Like, if it's accumulation time, for those of you who believe in MicroStrategy, if you believe in that, then it's time for you to pile in. If you believe in Bitcoin, it's time for you to pile into that. A lot of you are asking about SpaceX. Okay, well, let's cover Microsoft first, your index funds, first,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
this has to be a deep accumulation year. And also, too, now is not the year for you to learn more. And I know he just said that, but in the market, we've given you what to invest in. You have to deploy more capital there. The sense that I get from every person that I talk to, and no one knows what the free fall cause is going to be, but everyone I talk to knows that there's going to be a free fall at some point in 26 going into 27. And here's the part that no one's going to tell you. No one's going to save you when you're in desperation, because no one really gives a fuck. That's
I
why
think
most people who have information, they're quieter than ever in gatekeeping. There's not
Yeah.
many people telling you, even with SpaceX. Thank God for Vlad. But look how much pushback they gave him on tokenization of pre-IPO assets. We got this market down, but they're going to block you out the VC and the angel deals. Why? The private equity deals. Why? Because they don't want you to have access to it. They want to keep that 1%. It's like, well, we gave y'all the stock market. You can have that, but the 700% gainers that you can get before it even hits the market, we don't even want you to touch that.
Yeah, I think that's why this is such an important time, such an important show, such an important moment. 2026, I'm optimistic about it. And there's a couple, I always talk about catalyst events and things that can have the market move. I think if you look at the hyperscalers, the Metas, the Amazons, the Microsofts of the world, Google's, Tesla, I think from what we've seen in 2025 and what their future projections are for 2026, I think the CapEx story still is the same. You ask yourself the question, are they going to spend less or are they going to spend more? And the answer is more. And if we're talking about infrastructure, are we talking about spending less or are we going to be talking about spending more? We're going to be talking about
spending more for
we're
protection.
spending more. Deregulation is a word that keeps coming up. And I think it plays a major part into the story of 2026 in terms of AI specifically, when we talk about ginseng and our battle, our race to make sure that we stay ahead of China. He said the deregulation is going to be the biggest issue, right? If it takes us 6 weeks to build or 6 years to build a data center and it takes them 2 days to build a hospital, that's going to be a problem for us in the future. We have to figure out how we can get these things happening and off the ground faster, to the point where now AI deregulation is going state by state. So you start to see the early signs with that. Deregulation helps the AI industry, but it also helps the financial industry when we're talking about banks. And we'll talk about those a little bit later. So that's a tailwind that I think helps the market. When you talk about autonomous and EV, this is the year for Tesla. So it show improve. So that's another event. I think the new Fed chair, right? This is not going to be a person who is going to be, someone that's going to set the economy back, or you would think, or they wouldn't be selected. So that is one. The China story with NVIDIA is another one. I think that first half of the year, I'm super optimistic. I think we're going to have another positive year. I know. We're pacing at 17% right now, or just under it. So it would be 3 years and potentially of 20% gains. Now that's happened once before. And I was listening to Tom Lee earlier. And he was like, we've seen this happen in the 90s when we were talking about the internet. And then that fourth year was actually one of the better years out of the four. Obviously, we know what happens in 99 and 2000, but I'm optimistic about the market. I saw Oppenheimer had a S&P target of 8,100, and then there was S&P raise of 7,100, but that median is like 7,700, which tells us again that we potentially will be sitting at another 11 to 13% gain for the S&P, which is, just above average, which is good. So I'm optimistic about it. I think toward the end of the year, we may see some tailwinds that might turn the market a little bit negative. Obviously, this is a midterm year. We already spoke about how markets perform in midterm years as government changes and political offices change. So we'll be looking toward that in November. But I think we start off the year pretty well.
And you got to be more focused on the decade targets as a gem. I think too often people get too caught up in how a year is going to do, opposed to, if you really want generational wealth, if you're not willing to hold for 10 years, you're just talking. You're missing on too much upside to care about what's going to happen in a quarter or 6 months.
Yeah, I don't. I say that because I don't want people to be fearful, right? Like they keep hearing
Facts.
about this crash, they keep hearing about we're going to recession, and then it doesn't happen, and then you don't do anything because you kept listening to what people were saying. So,
well, we hit recession in 22, and they changed the definition of what it was, but that was an immense buying opportunity. Just like they won't print the Fed reports now.
Yeah, and look at the returns out of that from 22, right? You're talking about again 3 years of potentially 20% gains. So you can't. The recession, if it does happen, right, or let's say we have a downturn, we just got to be prepared for that because that's when people are going to make money. That is the exact time when you should be investing. Like, okay, here we were prepared for it. We got our entry prices, whether it was in futures and options, or if you're just buying equities. Now we can grab those shares that we want at a price that we want, and let's watch those returns over the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years.
Somebody said in chat, they said, do you think Netflix is gonna pass over $100 in Netflix? We talked about this on Blackout, but obviously, them coming into the podcast game, they made a lot of news last week. They signed a bunch of podcasts, including Breakfast Club and Joe and Jada's show.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also had the fight with Jake Paul. And
we're gonna call it a fight. The event,
technically, with Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua. So Netflix has been making a lot of news this whole entire year, but that was one of the questions: is it going to pass over $100 anytime soon?
Yes. I mean, I think that's an easy target for them to hit. But I think the falling of Netflix is a canary in the coal mine for what's to come. But the reason why I keep telling people to double down now, because you see all the companies doing it. Troy, you just brought up infrastructure and data centers. But even for Paramount to come back and say, well, Larry Ellison would personally guarantee. Okay, so when people ask what to moat, Netflix having that fight this weekend and all the investment that they're going to put into future content to now become our generation's version of cable is them building a moat in front of our face. Will they go back to 100? Yes. Are we going to still see the 35%, 40% year-over-year gains? Probably not, but could they eke out 15 to 20% gains? Yes. Is Netflix a buy? Yes. Yeah. They are the verb in the category. And probably one of the best run companies in the media space. Like, you look at what everything Netflix has done, Disney has dropped the ball on what they should have done. Now, there's a lot of regulatory reasons and personal vendettas inside of why. But will they get back to 100? Yes. Hold for the long term.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
You got a whole Netflix. I mean, Netflix is coming to an interesting time. Obviously, the stock split happens, and then the potential merger here. It's interesting because this is their quarter. Like, this is the quarter where you start to see what they're rolling out for their future. Obviously, another fight, more live sports with the NFL happening on Christmas here. Stranger Things is blowing out all of its expectations, but inside of that, they got the Diddy documentary. And like, I know we can say what we want, how we feel about it, but you're talking about over 3 billion views for a documentary that you didn't even expect to be on the docket.
Yep.
And so that tells you, all right, there's growth here. People are really watching it, and people are subscribing at records. And then you go into the iHeart deal, and it's like, okay, well, that's significant because now they want to be a part of your daily life, right? Because when you watch Netflix, you watch a show, you're done with it in a day. Well, how can I become a part of your daily life? If I don't have sports every day, what are people doing every day? Well, a lot of people are listening to podcasts on a daily basis.
Yep.
And if they have the video component, you're probably watching that on a daily basis or at some point during your week. So if I can be part of your weekly schedule, as opposed to, hey, Stranger Things is done, I watched it all, or Squid Game is done.
Yep.
It's seasonal. I'm done with it. Remember when Narcos was a thing? We're done with that in a weekend. How can I become part of your everyday ritual? If I can't do it in live sports, I'm going to do it in something that is also entertaining you, which is podcasts, which is a huge business. Obviously, we're a part of that business. The growth is there. The potential is there. This merger has kind of curveballed it a little bit, but I still like Netflix long term. I got a few positions in Netflix.
Hold for the long term, yo. But we've been screaming the same thing. Like, just hold. Be faithful to your portfolio so you can be free. Put it in chat. None of this 3-month bullshit, 6 months. Everything has to be 5 years. Like everyone in tech is playing 20 and 30-year games right now. Larry Ellison is personally guaranteeing billions of dollars for the benefit of his fucking son.
Yeah.
And people are worried about a 3-month run. I've been telling you since the beginning, hold for 5 years. Stay inside, because a lot of y'all who popping it on the gram, you're hurting right now. Derek just told you. I can see who living through the business. You got lifestyle businesses, and then guess what? They keep raising the prices on everything.
Yeah, that
no need to
Larry
play lifestyle games.
The Larry Ellison thing is, I mean, we've been talking about him for a year now in terms of the moves that he's making, obviously from Stargate, and then with TikTok. Quietly, like all the news with the Paramount potential merger with Warner Brothers, you know, they got approved, and now they got 50% ownership in TikTok, which, you know, kind of said, like, if you look at who's doing the cloud server for TikTok, it was Oracle in 2020. They got that deal. They were going to be the leader to be in the investment. But him saying, look, I'm putting $40 billion up guaranteed is interesting, because 2 weeks ago when the CFO of Netflix was on, he said that was not part of the deal. 2 weeks later, now they got a personal guarantee for $40 billion, which tells you how important to them having that network is in terms of spreading the messages that they want, having control of the messages that they want, and having media. So one thing that the Ellison group, and I say group because David is the son at the head of Skydance in Paramount, Larry is obviously the dad and head of Oracle. They don't have a media arm the way that they want to, right? And I told during that class, look, Paramount does not make money. Skydance does make some money, but not enough to have this merger. Where were they going to get the back end? Dad said, look, I know I'm worth 250. Here's 40 guaranteed.
I put up 40.
All cash deal. All cash deal.
Because in the next election, if you can go back into that White House and say, well, I can get you 36 more million viewers per month, that'll secure the financing that you need for the other ventures to go well. This is war games. That's why I like the tone that it's like, it is not time to play at all. Notice, in the people who sold off their companies in the last few years, the UFC selling was interesting. Then Dana ended up in the White House and on the board of Meta. Meta's involvement in the White House. Vince McMahon walking away, but then they cut his legs from underneath him and told every little secret. That was the first Diddy doc to lower the valuation. Please, I am begging you, because you don't know when we're going to end the show. Because one day we're going to pop up and be like, it's been fun. Deploy capital into the best assets on earth. Hold for 5 years minimum, ideally 10. They are changing the world in front of us. There is no more safety in corporate how this should be. And it's unfortunate. But everyone is going to be forced to be an investor and an entrepreneur, given the wave of AI. They have invested. They're going to invest $2 trillion into AI. You can't afford to sit on the sideline.
No, that's a fact. Another question, is Micron better than AMD?
Buy both. Have a financial threesome. We're not doing this. Have a financial threesome or force them, put NVIDIA in there and have a fucking blast. All of them. All of them. Get to 10,000 shares.
I know why you asked the question. I understand the question. The answer is in the beginning of this episode of understanding what you're investing in and understanding that those two companies do two different things, right? So like when we're talking about AMD, we're talking about a company that makes GPUs and CPUs. When we're talking about Micron creates the memory for those GPUs and those CPUs. They actually work together, right? So if you're investing in AMD, look at who their memory partner is. If you're investing in NVIDIA, look who their memory partners are. That's how you start to stack the companies, right? So you got to have the understanding, right? I wouldn't say, hey, is it ASML or is it AMD? Well, those companies don't function if they don't have ASML to create the machines for TSM to manufacture, right? So it's different roles, different spots inside of this cycle of AI that you got to understand. I'm doing both. Of course, I'm doing both. We talked about AMD throughout the year. Micron obviously is hit its all-time high again today. So yeah, man, do
Go
both.
watch every episode we've answered, and not to that person who asked the question, because you solid. But a bunch of y'all ain't been faithful in y'all real lives. So why you finna act like you singularly focus on the stock? Buy both. AMD and Nvidia. We done told you the gamut of what now it's the okay. This the real game. Can you put 50% of the money that's coming in into the assets? It's gonna make you money forever. So you can talk like this. That's the real game. No flex. Just put the money into the assets. Do like you do. There's a some of y'all are telling you little size. Oh, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Come pick up your present on the 26th. AMD, Nvidia,
Yeah.
Micro, buy everything because they're buying up everything.
That's and you know what? This is like part of the those learning lessons that you get inside of your profession. Like, so when I was teaching, patience was one of those things that I had to have with students.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'll get a text like, yo, Troy, what's the next one? And I'm like, yo, we told you, like, on Market Mondays, Micron for 2 years, it was $82. It was $79 at its low. It's at $276. AMD, when it was crashing, I'm like, yo, no, just stay there. Don't worry about number two could be a winner. Number two could be a winner. And that was at $80. Here we are at $215. It's happening. Like,
it's happening.
Like, right.
Over.
So the next one is the one we already said. You know what I mean? So like, but that goes inside. And I spoke about this the other night. It was like, what type of investor are you? I think people need to put curiosity in the categories of what type of investor they're going to be. Curiosity in the sense of, hey, you know what? AMD is a great company. NVIDIA is a great company. But what makes those companies great? Like, are there companies that are assisting them in this run that they're having? Like, who are they using for connectivity? Who are they using for memory? Who is manufacturing for them? That type of curiosity will lead you to companies, right, that can also scale with them, right? Because if AMD is going to have blowout numbers, which I think they will next year, and NVIDIA is going to continue to have blowout numbers, which I think they will next year. The China sales are about to go online in February. Then these are companies that are going to benefit as well. That's just the level of curiosity you got to have as an investor.
But then we got to start. Go ahead, Rashad.
I seen somebody put in chat. A few people put in chat. Because the question is valid as far as, like, you might not even have enough capital to really deploy. That's why ETFs are good. So SMH is an ETF where you can not only invest in NVIDIA and TSM and Broadcom and MU, but also AMD and ASML and Intel. So if you're interested in kind of seeing which one you want to pick, you can take the pathway of investing in the individual stocks, but you can also invest in the ETF, which invest in all of those companies in different level of percentages. So that's another way to go about it also.
And we've told them that 1,000 times.
We have to start having conversations about owning a large percentage of companies. The boycott thing is good. Shout out to Dr. Bryant or Jamal Bryant, Pastor Bryant. But the boycott and then not owning something as a community means nothing. Because guess what? The other retailers feel the same way. They just ain't said nothing. Like, I feel you on that. We've told you, and Rashad just told you, ETF is AMD or Micron. I saw the question, is gold going to go to 4,800? May take to January or February, but gold is at an all-time high. Gold, silver, platinum, everything's going
Palladium,
up.
All of
Palladium is going up. Commodities are going up. But we can't just want the information to be gate kept from us and then get the information and not execute at the highest level. I get we want reparations. This is it. This is it. And I'm only screaming this to you because next year is going to be serious, y'all. Like, when you're talking to people, when you're talking to people that have net worths above 50 million, 100 million, and they're worried, why are we moving slow? Like, we know all the answers. We need to decide next year what company as a community will we own 40% of. Then get to the board meetings to change the board. We didn't answer these. So, respectfully. And then this is with love. I'm just passionate about this because this is my art and my life's work.
Just my passion talking.
Well, gold definitely had a blowout year. Speaking of gold, and it did hit another high, and it's been going up all year. It's kind of not really fell. It's been like on an upward trajectory, and gold is an asset that obviously benefits from times when people are losing confidence in the dollar worldwide, and inflation is still high, and national debt is all time high, and all these different things that we talked about that before the Mike Novogratz conversation that we had earlier. But when they were still running for president, and it was either between Trump or Harris. That was last year, but that prophecy has been fulfilled. But a lot of people think that gold is still the best alternative asset outside of stocks. Even some people prefer it more than Bitcoin because of the historical track
Value.
record that it's
Yeah.
had as far as gold has been around for 6,000 years and traded as currency, and hasn't, went off the face of the earth yet. And it's still, to this day, it's still, valued all over the world. No matter where you go in the world, you can pull out some gold and they're going to take it. So what's the outlook for gold?
It'll still be positive next year as we go in. If there's any fear or concern, gold will have its value. This year, I think gold is up 49%, silver 84%, platinum up 68%. The S&P is roughly around 17. That in turn tells you. So also, the 1-year bond down 13%, 2-year bond down 16%, 5-year bond down 15%, 10-year down 10%, and Japanese bond market that carry trade is over with. There's a lot of international concern. So gold should probably have a better year. It is a hedge. One of the things in Dalio's prophecy about the umbrella all-weather strategy that he did get right and nail on the head is the investment into gold. Some exposure is good, whether it's through GOD or you trade the gold future or having physical gold, even though that carries some limitations into how much you can have. It is a great hedge into the market. And that way, if your tech portfolio is driving down, your gold or alternative currency portfolio should be going up.
I'm with you.
The game is simple. Just the execution is the hard part.
Yeah, somebody just put something in the chat I thought was dope when I was talking about the curiosity. Somebody said, what about copper? Like, that's the type of thought process. Is like, okay, if we're talking about metals, that type of thinking is like, all right, that's somebody who's on his way, right? Because when you think about copper, well, why would that be something that a commodity that I would look into? Well, if we're talking about infrastructure and we're talking about connectivity, what type of metal is going to be inside these data centers? What's helping with that connectivity? What has the thermal capacity to have that type of power run through it? See what I'm saying? So like, yeah, that would be something to look into as well, going into not just 26, but if these data centers are being built, not just here domestically, but internationally throughout the world, that's going to be something that's going to be needed. So make sure if you're not looking at copper, put it on your watch list. I'm only saying because I'm saying.
Yeah, copper's currently at 540. Now the future for it is /HG on Thinkorswim. But it's also had a record year. It's had a record year.
And that gives, so like when we see that, it makes sense. It's like, okay, we can understand why that would have a record year if we're talking about this revolution and we're talking about the expansion and the infrastructure of it, right? This is why a company like Oracle falls. It's like, yeah, if you build it, they'll come, but we got to build it. And in order to build it, these are the pieces that are going to help build it.
Banking stocks. If you had to invest in one banking stock going forward, what would it be?
I know what you're going to say, bro.
Tell me.
I know what you're going to. I'm going to you're going to say JP, but go ahead. Go ahead. Give your reasons. I'll give mine. I'll give it the bonus.
Yeah, it's JP Morgan. And it's solely because, like, if you go, Rashad brought up a great point to watch documentaries, right? Because and preferably older documentaries, because there's a lot more truth and it wasn't pushing one viewpoint. When you look at the history of banking, even if you go back to the Titanic, classic movie, but the part that gets left out is who got assassinated on that trip and what happened after that trip, right? So fundamental to the infrastructure of America's money cycle and banking cycle, JP Morgan became the leader. And due to whatever back channel reasons, they've been allowed to usher in the stablecoin era for banks and have enough involvement inside of crypto where I think they'll be safe, while other banks, mid-sized banks in particular, probably will hit a rough patch. A lot of times it's not just about the efficiency of the business, but when Rashad and Troy are telling you about networking, one of the biggest parts of networking is the VC and the government relation cycle that stands for 20 or 30 years. JP Morgan has had a record year, even though Jamie Dimon is trying to find a way to leave and run for president, which I don't know if he'll win that. I don't think so. But one of the banks that are safe of almost any crash and that has been selected since Warren Buffett is now stepping away next year is JP Morgan. It doesn't, and I think it's a great institution for some of the things that they do, but it's because of that VC and infrastructure, government related reasons why they'll be fine next year.
Yeah, JP is a leader in investment banking, in trading, in commercial banking, and asset management. And so those are 4 good reasons why you would do that. I'm going to give a sleeper. Somebody in the chat said I was going to put PNC. I'm not putting PNC. I could have. Goldman would have been another one, but they had an incredible year.
Goldman solid.
And maybe people haven't watched this chart, but I'll give you time to look at it now. Go look up Citi's chart.
Mm-hmm.
Citi's had an incredible year. It's probably had the best year out of any of those financials. Again, when we talk about the deregulation that could happen, financials are going to be the direct beneficiary of it. Quick notes for you, right? So heavy regulation, here's what happens. It forces banks to spend billions of dollars on reporting, audits, stress tests, and legal overhead. If you have deregulation, that means there's going to be more money for the banks, which means there's going to be more money for shareholders because they potentially will have buybacks. It also means that there are going to be more loans that are going to be issued, and there's going to be different measures for credit, which means that businesses are going to be able to have more loans. And so these financials, if you're listening to like CNBC or Bloomberg and they keep telling you about 2026, it's the year of financials, it's the year of financials, it's because there's something happening with deregulation.
Yep.
And they know that, and they're trying to tell you, but they can't tell you. So I'm telling you, that's why they're saying it. So I would look at, obviously JP is number 1, clear cut. I like Citi as a sleeper though.
They had one of their best years in a long time.
A long time.
Mm-hmm.
Quiet. And it was quiet too.
Yeah.
It was a quiet one. Yeah, but I'll go Shai's route. If you're looking at an ETF, right? And I know they put State Street. I mean, XLF would be, look inside XLF, look what the holdings are, look what the allocations are, see what the top 3 or 4 are. It should give you a sign.
And somebody asked about Bank of America.
I see that just now, yeah.
If Jamie steps away, Brian Moynihan probably should be the person that they poach to come over to JP. Don't text me if you're at JP, because I know y'all got your internal candidates, but I think Brian Moynihan is a great player on a not so great team in terms of the stock. So it's going to be a tricky year these next 2 years, man. That's why Rashad quiet. Rashad just executing. When my boy get to being quiet, he back editing the videos himself. I know Rashad, yo. Back in his duffel. Troy ain't saying nothing. It's go time. If you miss 2020, 2026 is going to be an eventful year for you. Business-wise, stock-wise, investment side, private equity.
What do you think the biggest things that could potentially happen in 2026?
I think we'll start to see the start of the fall of one of the major tech CEOs step down.
Okay. I know where you're going with that. I'll say this because I watched Sam Altman speak last week, and I'm not convinced that they're not going to figure out a way to make them go public. He said that he doesn't want to. He knows that at some point he'll have to, but he knows the stress that comes with it. He doesn't look forward to it. It's the one thing that he doesn't want to do. But the reliance that a lot of these companies, right, and the uncertainty that a lot of these companies are facing are due to OpenAI. Whether it's Oracle, even NVIDIA, right? Like how can they fulfill this to make sure that they're making profit? I think the OpenAI going public, I think the IPO market will be the big story. If we see SpaceX come on board here in 26 or 27 or early 27, Anthropic, somebody's gonna become a publicly traded company at some point in the near future.
Why do you think he isn't looking forward to going public?
His words, the reporting part.
Wow.
Which is, again,
so you have
those type of answers lead to more uncertainty, right?
I don't know who Sam Altman's PR person or crisis management person is, but you need to find your Olivia Pope. Because if you mismanage this, like one way to expose an opponent, because he's made a lot of enemies. If I know you aren't as talented as like in that A class, one of the things to do is to get you to, and this is maybe Elon doing on the back channel since he stole part of that shit from Elon, is to make you go public so you can report, so we can see what you're really doing and what the margins really are, so we can know how to attack you. It's best not to make enemies. I know a lot of people like to take that beef angle, and now it's the thing. It's like, well, white entrepreneurs beef too. But one of the best things you can do for the viability of your business is to have a moat of partnerships, opposed to having a moat of enemies trying to enforce themselves upon your territory.
I'll throw this out to both of you. I'm interested in, is he? I mean, I know we said Vlad, right? CEO of the year.
The real Vlad.
The Vlad Tenev.
Vlad Tenev.
Wouldn't Sam Altman be in the conversation as well? If you think about from this standpoint, think about the deals he's made in the past 6 months. Renegotiating the Microsoft deal, right? Getting more control there. Broadcom deal, NVIDIA deal, AMD deal, Oracle deal. And he's still like, that's a lot in 6 months for a private company.
You know, he's done a lot, but there's also no benefit of him really going public. People go public to, raise the valuation of their company and to, make a lot of money. And I mean, they're doing that going private. They're going to have $1 trillion valuation privately. So it's not really, it's an unusual situation, but I also think that there's a lot of downside from the go public ones. They're not really making money like that. And once you really start to see the numbers, they could look, so it's like, what happens if it goes public and the stock just free falls?
Well, that was interesting. I'll make a point on that. And then what's your thoughts on that in terms of like where he's at in that CEO of the year conversation?
I think you can make the argument, and I've been a fan of OpenAI since 2021. I am very concerned. Like, okay, as you're building, I don't want to get into a war with billionaires and deca billionaires when my net worth is sitting here on paper. So some of the deals that he's made, great. You can also argue, though, you're signing somebody who signed to somebody who signed to somebody. You're playing that game of everyone's getting to your intellectual property, and now they're trying to recreate the version of the magic that you have. What he has is absolutely magical. It's empowering this whole AI revolution. If you don't play it well, Microsoft and Oracle and NVIDIA will be a bigger beneficiary to it than you. But in the running for CEO of the year, absolutely. I just think that his management needs to get him under control, because he's acting like Elon, but Elon after he amassed $400 billion. It's too soon for that.
Yeah.
And to say as a CEO, you don't want to face reporting, like, what the fuck are we talking? What? Yeah. Zuckerberg would have never said that when it was thefacebook.com before Sheryl Sandberg was there. So you're saying you don't want to get in the league and you don't want Garnett or Wimby to guard you. You don't want to report. Why? That sounds asinine when you just told the public that you have ChatGPT help you raise your baby. Why don't you want it to report when it can do all the fucking reporting for you? That's crazy to me to say. That's my passion talk.
That's your passion talk. There's a lot riding on it. They brought up the idea, right? If Microsoft is a beneficiary, a direct beneficiary of OpenAI, if you look at how Microsoft has been trading, or how it's been over the past 6 months specifically, it's kind of been moving sideways in a sense. And so is that a telltale sign of how OpenAI will increase revenue for companies? We don't know. I mean, 2026 is there's a lot on the line for that space, and they're like right in the center of it. So we'll see.
Microsoft the program, though, to be no pun intended. But
That Mayweather money looking funny in the light.
Allegedly.
Shout out to my boy.
Money may count on the court side.
But my brother, I love you dearly. Shout out to the team. But not in front of Hov. Not that.
Please.
That look crazy.
Please.
Respectfully.
There's children here.
But I think the biggest thing to watch for next year is the political landscape, because that's going to determine the economic landscape for sure. They're already positioning themselves to, fight. That midterm battle is going to be interesting because it's a highly contested situation right now, and it's heating up. And I think that everybody's positioning their base. And when you see Mondani win the election in New York, that's a telltale sign as far as a socialist that's winning in the most important city in the world. And that would be good for Democrats, but maybe not, because every Democrat's not willing to push that line. Like, he's willing to push a hard line, and the Democrats, for the most part, they're not really willing to go that far. But then you see, J.D. Vance, he was on the Turning Point conference. Nicki Minaj was there also, but he was pushing a hard line. He said, "Look, if you're a white male, you no longer have to apologize for being white." So they pushing a hard line on their end. So everybody's playing to the Democrats not really playing, but the Republicans have definitely played to the fringes of their base in an effort to rally support and rally the troops for not just J.D. Vance's presidential run. Erica Kirk endorsed J.D. Vance. It's pretty unprecedented. He's not even running for president. 3 years, she endorsed somebody 3 years before the presidential run.
Smart.
I think a lot of people are kind of nervous about this political landscape. So if the Democrats come in and they take over the House, there's going to be a lot of push for regulation, and there's going to be a lot of push for everything that Trump did to try to undo that, and that's going to have an impact on the markets for sure. If the Republicans hold, then I guess it's just business as usual. But he has also weaponized all government agencies in a way that has never been done before, and he's controlling not just the Justice Department, FBI, things of that nature, but he's controlling monetary policy, and he's putting strong pressure on. He has his hands, and it's only going to get worse. And the new Fed chair, you had said something. You was like, he's not going to do something that could ruin the economy, but he might do something that could ruin the economy by not trying to do something that's going to ruin the economy. Because it's like, if you just do something because somebody tells it. So none of these branches of government was ever supposed to be beholden to the president. That's what makes America a democracy on paper, at least, is because the president just can't say to somebody, lower interest rates because I want you to lower interest rates because I need the stock market to go up, or do this or do that. But now, Project 2025, it wasn't just about DEI. It was about really centralizing power in a way that we've never seen before. And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's why they could release the Epstein files and just have Chris Tucker and Michael Jackson, but not have him, because he's telling the Justice Department, this is what I want you to do. He's telling the IRS, this is what I want you to do. He's telling the FBI, this is what I want you to do. He's telling the CIA, this is what I want you to do. But he's also, Jerome Powell's been fighting him. And once Jerome Powell's going, he's going to control monetary policy. He's going to be telling the Fed chair, do this, don't do that. And that's extremely dangerous. And that could really cause tremendous issues in the economy when you just making decisions based off of what a president wants to do for his approval ratings.
Especially when it's short term in thought. I can see if he was thinking, let's level the economy to be okay for the next 5 or 6 years. He's thinking 3 months for
maybe.
So we can put on True Social.
And that's why it's important. And I think the word of the night for me is that deregulation, please. Right? I think I 100% agree with you. Like, if there's a switch in power, then November, you're going to see a drastic shift in the market. I think another piece that I kind of left out, and it just is this tariff piece. So, like, this tariff potential reversal, right? We'll see what the Supreme Court says, right? Is the money that was allegedly supposed to be taken from tariffs, is it going to be given back to companies because it was deemed illegal? That is another segue to say, okay, catalyst event for companies that are actually going to have more revenue than they thought they were going to originally. The Fed chair piece is interesting. And I got to give Jerome Powell a standing ovation for the job he did, man, because he weathered the storm. Not the storm of Trump, but the storm of coming out of COVID when we thought a recession was coming and it was short-lived. Definitions were changed, but he was able to bring inflation down. He was obviously able to bring interest rates to a level that we didn't think was possible 2 to 3 years ago. And now he's going to be out of here. And so now the idea is like, how lower can we go with these Fed rates? That would be an interesting story to watch. I know that they're projecting that there might be 2 in 2026, but we'll see. We don't even know who the Fed chair is to even like project what they might or what they're willing to do.
And as Jerome Powell also said, economy has slowed, and the mass deportation has played a part in negative impacts on the economy. Just said that was going to happen, and we still haven't really seen the full effects of that. But there's still effects to be felt from that. Immigration policy has a negative impact on the economy. The immigration policy doesn't have a positive impact on the economy. It has a negative impact on the economy, and it's only going to have a more negative impact on the economy. So that's not me talking. That's Jerome Powell. Take it up with him. But this is just year one.
Yep, it feels like it's been 3.
Yeah, we got a long time left in this term.
Yeah. Who's going to be the Democratic presidential superstar to run against JD?
I mean, it's gonna be Gavin Newsom. I don't even think it's anybody else.
So
I mean, Westmore has the outside chance, I think. But all roads are leading to Gavin Newsom. He's positioning himself to be the anti-Trump and aggressive, not the typical Democrat. The guy that goes on all the smoke and curse.
You can't change character halfway through the movie.
No, you can. Of course you can. Trump did it.
Trump was an asshole the entire time.
But Trump was a Democrat.
Yeah, but he told you he'd run Republican. Gavin is playing bad boy when he was not that before. Too late. You should just be who you are. Shellacking, unfortunately.
What Paulie Marcus say?
Let's look. Let's look. He'll get the nomination, but like when that race happened, shellacking. You ran California to the ground. That's tough. That's a job I wouldn't want.
Diversify your citizenship, man. That's important. Look overseas.
Hello.
The writings on the wall.
Yes.
Turning Point USA. Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I'm gonna just
Queens get the money.
I'm just gonna remain here. I'm just gonna stay right here.
Gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
No, you don't.
You gotta do
No, you don't.
Southside Jamaica, Queens, and they raised me, right?
Yo, when the IRS come, you start to see people.
Nah, prayers up, man. Seriously, all jokes aside, prayers up. I'm not sure who that was up there.
It was Nicki Minaj. That's what
that was her?
Yeah. It's Nicki Minaj.
I thought they like who cloned Tyrone.
But mental health is something that we take very seriously. So, hopefully she can get the help.
Nah, yeah, prayers up, man.
She definitely called the boy an assassin on the stage with somebody whose husband actually got assassinated. That's
wild.
And notice the non-correction too.
Yeah. She called him an assassin. That was wild. But I guess we all make mistakes.
For sure. I made many.
Yeah. All right. Having said that.
Who's the greatest female rapper of all time there?
Lauryn Hill. Not even close.
Jersey.
Big Jersey.
She's the greatest rapper?
Lauryn Hill?
We can't put Nicki up somewhere, y'all. And that's
because of the recent events?
Come on, bro.
Was that her?
That's crazy.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Talk about year in review. I'll let both of you talk, but I know you did your class and you showed some of the gains and the stocks that you had picked in the performances and all that. So that was an EYL University. If anybody is not familiar with EYL University, man, you behind the 8 ball on that, because there's a lot of people making a lot of money in that situation right now. The options class, investment, real estate, so much stuff going on. But talk about that.
How about your portfolio, man? Did well?
Did okay.
I take pride in watching my people win. Yeah, man, we had an incredible year. 2025 was an incredible year. It was a year of focus. It was a year of discipline. It was a year of, as I called it, using my teammates. And so 2023, when we did Market Mondays live in Chicago, was the first time I had said, I'm using AI to help me in my research. And at that time, it was Anthropic, and I was using it around earnings and having it read through the earnings reports and getting information and scouring for what analysts were saying. And that's just been intensified as ChatGPT and all these GPTs got better. Then the research and the data became even better. Gemini obviously being the most accurate. And the returns were reflective on that, right? So we put a top 5 or top 6 that we thought would benefit from the tailwind of AI in 2025. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Then we put up on our last post where, I mean, from TSM to NVIDIA, AMD, when no one was talking about it, and it was getting beat up 66%. We had Eli Lilly in there. I know, Ian, that's one that
that's my baby.
Huge on. And we got those at great prices. ASML, when it got down to 650, we had been in these positions just at the right time, obviously in the option space. When we're talking about percentage from the equity growing, you're talking about 50, 60% now. When you have option calls on that, that's when you see the 300, 400, 500% returns that these people are getting. In fact, I saw somebody today in EYLU that is up almost 2,000% on Micron. I don't even have a 2,000% Micron call. They got 2 of them, which is incredible. It just talks about the level of execution that people are doing inside of EYLU, but in market monies as well. Like people are getting information, whether it was from a few weeks ago when it was Fabrinet or it was ScanDisk or it was Caterpillar. People are executing on that information. And so I put out the 2026 list for companies, and I'll give one. Can I give one? Cool. Or do you want me to give all of them? Give them one? I'll give them one. So we had some returning companies. The one that I did add this year in 2026, which I think is going to have a phenomenal year, is Robinhood. I think the story of how it's pulled back here over the past couple of months is well overblown. I think Robinhood is set up in terms of the population who they serve, how they're over delivering for that population, and that population is seeing returns and coming back. What they are building is loyalty, right? This is important, especially in branding. You want to have a core group of loyal supporters, and they've done that with the younger demographic, especially inside the worlds of options trading. What speaks even louder to it is the fact that they've added predictive marketing into it, right? So now you're talking about young people are doing sports betting. That he sees that space and he says, how can we be in this space in a way that can be productive for our site? There you go with predictive marketing. You go on there now, there's sports predictive marketing inside of it. I think it's going to be an incredible segue for them that's going to add more revenue. But I think inside of brokerage accounts for the future, right? So we're talking about those Trump accounts, like there's going to be a brokerage that's going to have to benefit from that. We're looking about the brokerage of the future. When we talk to kids, and we talk to a lot of young adults, in fact, I got a meeting tomorrow. When I ask them what brokerage they use, it's not the first.
It's not even a question.
It's not even a question who they use, right? Like I feel like, wait, I'm using this and they're using that. I had to go back. I said, let me just open up my Robinhood just so when I'm trying to teach these young adults, I'm teaching them on the platform that they know. And overwhelmingly, it has been Robinhood. We talk about deregulation, again, that word. They'll benefit from that, right? Outside of the options trading, which is a huge market for them, predictive trading, huge market for them. We didn't even talk about crypto yet. And a lot of young people and people of all ages are using Robinhood to trade crypto. It was one of those places that accepted it first. had brokerages around it and financial institutions around them figuring out how they can do it so they can add it to their institutions. I like Robinhood in 2026. It was one of I put 12 companies in there, but that was one of them for sure.
Go ahead, Rashad.
Nah. You about to say something?
No, I would just say though, for those who y'all counted Lily out, what a mistake. What a mistake. I had a personal conversation with a friend who they had a $3 million position in Lily in March, exited. I should show the text, but I don't want to embarrass you. You told me Lily was, and I told my friends to get into this and and here we go. I know it's a popular thing to then criticize, but like one of the most important investing lessons is to listen to the people who are doing better than you in that space. That's why, like when Mike Novogratz, take me out of it, because I've been free since 2016. Take Mike Novogratz. I went through all those comments last weekend of the people who were criticizing him, like, well, he got this one thing wrong. He gave you 70 fucking things that was right.
And people that I'm gonna let you finish, but it's funny you say that because I was thinking about that today because we did the Aquaman interview, and one of the clips a few of the clips went viral. One of the clips, he asked me how much I paid for health insurance, and I told him like almost $2,000. I rounded it up, but
same.
And there's a bunch of people in the comments, like one person went as far as like he's lying. There's no way you pay $2,000 for health insurance for two people.
Who's why?
And then they're like, yo, that don't even make any sense. And you know what I realized is that have you ever seen Robert Smith in the comments saying like that's not true? That can't be true. Have you ever seen Don Peoples in the comments saying like, oh no, that's impossible. That can't be true.
Because they will say it.
And they all follow us. Or have you ever seen Gary Vee in the comments saying, no, that's not true. That's not possible. I'm not listening to somebody that, like, if you haven't been to where somebody else has been to, but it's only the people that comment on that is the people that are not qualified to talk on it. Mm-hmm. That's the craziest part about it. Like, you would think, all right, somebody that's really true billionaire, they can give some insight. Somebody at least worth, 100 million can give insight on it. Like, nah, you paying too much for health insurance, bro. I haven't seen one person that's worth more than me say like, yo, you paying too much for health insurance. That's crazy. But out of the whole message, that was the one thing that people got out of it. It was like, yo, that can't be true. What is he doing? He don't even know what he's talking about. He's paying to you. You have never even paid for health insurance. You don't even own a business.
And on top of that, that's how I know you're not paying your child support either. That's how I know. No, let's be real. Because the health services and health insurance part is separate from the actual fee. If you pay and you're an entrepreneur, you know that $2,000 at a certain level, depending on what state you're in, is like.
Exactly. You go by the state, you go by the deductible, you add the dental, and like it's a variety of different factors that go into it. But people are saying, looking at it like, yo, that's the most dumbest, it's the craziest thing that they ever heard in their life. Bro. And I'm like, you telling me something you don't even. I used to work in insurance.
Bro, I paid $2,500 a month. Right. Most people, if they work, right, health insurance comes with their full-time employee, right? Oh, I only paid $10, whatever it is that come out of your paycheck. I took a leave right before I left completely from education. I took a leave for a year. They were like, all right, well, it's a leave without pay. Well, a leave without pay, I don't get paid and I got to pay my own health insurance. Family of four, $2,500 a month. That was in 2020. Mm-hmm. That now probably up to $2,800, $3,000 a month.
Come on, man.
And that's why when Jadakiss said that go to jail just to get their teeth fixed, and now they don't even have dental in jails anymore. Yeah. So it's like there's a reason why he said that. It was a joke when it's a punchline, but there's a reason why he said people go to jail just to get their teeth fixed because they can't afford to get their teeth fixed.
Yeah, Marlon said Cobra. Yep.
Like I seen somebody that was like, they probably got a $17,000 deductible. That's a fact. Like when that health insurance, I'm tying this in back to Eli Lilly. We have a crisis in America, especially if you're a self-employed person. It's extremely difficult. That's why that whole what they call Obamacare, which is really called the Affordable Healthcare Act, you had to go through the portal. It wasn't a perfect system, but it was designed for people that did not have health insurance. Yep. If you don't have health insurance provided through your job and you got to get it on your own, it's extremely difficult. And like you said, it also goes by your zip code, where you actually live.
Yep.
What kind of dental plan you want, what kind of health plan you want. a variety of different things. If you're self-employed, if you're an employer. So the people commenting on things that have no idea what they're talking about. It's just like, I just thought about that today. I'm like, damn, I never seen nobody rich in the comments.
Grant
Commenting.
Cardone ain't said nothing. You go to any country where it would be beneficial for them to tear us down, they don't have a pushback on that.
But tying that in, Red Panda, what I was going with this is Red Panda, you know, that's institution. And one of the good things with Red Panda is that it actually, you know, tells you different buy prices for stocks. And obviously Eli Lilly was one of them. So talk about Eli Lilly and just talk about just a year in review as far as like what even you might have learned. Like, you know, it's always good to, I think everybody continues to learn as you get older, maybe new technology that you might have picked up, AI, stuff like that. Like what's your year recap look like as far as, you know, Red Panda and how you've actually maybe, you know, changed or grown in your philosophy on economics?
A great question. Is have been doing follow what the countries and capital deployers with the most money do. They're doubling down on their current stance. So Nvidia knocked it out the park. Apple, despite my criticism of Cook, knocked it out the park. And next year, he's going to be gone. Then you'll go back and clip that shit up about him leaving and he should leave. Will look fucking prophetic. Lilly, one of the greatest run institutions in America. Iconic run. Like the big lesson is not to find something new, but once you have an elite talent, to double down and triple down and put more into it. Oklahoma City is not looking to find another Shea. They're looking to put more money into Shea. Same thing here. There's no reason to make a market Tuesdays. Just make market Mondays. Better. Stock club, better. And I'll say this too. Respectfully, I get, because sometimes I watch the clips too, and I'll be like, I hate him too, right? I had some moments. I'll be like, man, shut up. But it would behoove you to listen to what I say the first time. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. And that's not from a place of arrogance. Because you trying to belittle me or tear me down ain't made you no more money. Has not. My net worth is just exponentially grown. I just don't show it. Don't flash it. Don't floss it. But the thing that I've learned more than anything, and I had a conversation maybe 2 weeks ago with somebody who's at a fund to fund. He was like, your next goal has to be 200,000 or 300,000 shares in your primary position. Interesting. Then he showed me his account with 600,000 or 700,000 shares in some corporate. And I'm like, fuck, what the, now you picking up 4 and 8 million a quarter and not saying a word. And notice, to your point, Rashad, it's the criticism from those who are not at a certain level yet, but those are above are quiet as fuck. They're quiet. What? They're just quietly executing because they realize that the noise ratio that you get on social media is not even worth the return. Hormozy killed it this year. Hormozy is getting quieter in 2026. More automation of content, but on the back end, he's quiet. Him and his wife are quiet. Grant is still posting, but he's quiet. They're all doing the back deal with the government and inclusion into Bitcoin and real estate. It is accumulation of asset time. Who gives a fuck if you don't like my take? Take my advice and get you rich. When y'all met me, I was rich. Even on AMD, I just said they need to reformat and let's have a conversation. AMD was my pick in 2018. Okay. Got 9,000 shares of that. We're going to separate the talking from who got it for real next year.
Yeah,
I promise you.
I think it's important though, even in the conversations, right? Like even if you and I don't agree on me, you and Shai, I don't agree with y'all on something, and y'all don't agree on something. At least it invites dialogue. Yeah. Like the dialogue itself is like, all right, I hear that side, and you can make your own decision.
And but even if you don't agree, if the Vatican agrees, that's what fucking matters. If Vanguard and BlackRock agree, that's what matter. The internet chatter don't matter, dog.
Get the
if the Vatican say it mattered, it mattered. Notice when I said that about Tim Cook, nobody from Apple, Nvidia, BlackRock, State Street, Piper ever said I was wrong. It's just a bunch of motherfuckers ran up to CNBC and took what I said.
Quick question. Because I got Lily in my 12.
Talking.
That's just your pastor. You GLP Do we get pill form from Italy in 26? Just
they're gonna find a way to sell you the crack for sure.
all right. Yeah, I got it in my predictives. Like I think that happens in 26.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we are gonna take some questions soon too, because this is the last show of the year. And you know what's crazy too is that shout out to all my Dominicans and Cubans and Puerto Ricans, but it's a little frustrating when you work with somebody and then when people can't start, they conveniently can't really understand or speak English.
Mm-hmm.
When the invoice comes and it's time to, and it's like, that's the most frustrating thing in the world. When you actually doing business with somebody and let's do business, and I know that you can speak English because we've been speaking English the whole time, but then it just gets extremely confusing. It gets confusing at that point. That's when it gets confusing.
I'm not.
This
Proceed. Proceed.
That never happened to you before?
Oh yeah, and don't even know Spanish.
Oh, Spanish was the link? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Or the other side of it is I think I'm owed more from you conversation, the entitlement conversation. Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it. The when they realize what you're doing, the price go up on the job.
Everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, of course. Look.
On everything.
Yeah, it looks like he can afford it. Yep. Tax him.
They start running around in circles with the word salad, and that's not making no sense to a fifth grader. You can't even understand what he's talking about. And no. I'm like, okay. Now
we can circle back to it at the top of the year. No, I pay my shit now. What you mean?
I got my translator.
You got to keep a translator at all times.
Keep the translator. Keep your earbuds in, man.
Keep a translator.
Yeah.
I know what you said.
Yeah. But year review, the market has done incredibly well. Tech has done incredibly well. All the ones, even Bitcoin is tech. For those of you who don't know, Bitcoin is tech. Even though they've had a little bit of trouble, invest in tech. I've been same thesis. Nothing changed. When you have a great plan, you don't got to change it. That fadeaway for Jordan worked, even when he was on the Wizards. The triangle offense worked. Keep investing. But my new thing for next year, I'm gonna do the shoddy. I'm gonna be way more quiet. Cool. I got you.
You're gonna be way more quiet?
Oh, for sure. To my social media team, post everything for me before I send out a bounty on social media for what I pay for me to be quiet.
Send a bounty.
Mm-hmm.
What the Bosa? What AI? What's your top 3 AI sites that you're using for investing?
AI sites or GBTs? So my research starts. Obviously, I do my own reading, and those who've been part of this EYL journey, I know I got like 15 publications that I usually read. I don't read them all as much anymore. So I start with my own human intelligence first, and then I'll find a topic. This is that curiosity that I'm talking about in terms of investing, and it usually goes to Gemini first, just because of the idea of them being the internet and their GPT having the most accurate answers. And then I have Claude for specific questions, and then I have ChatGPT for other questions. And so I combine all that research, and then I combine the human intelligence, and then I go teach from that.
On your computer?
Yeah. So, ChatGPT on the phone, Claude on the computer, Gemini on the computer. But if I got to use my phone, then I'm using my phone. If we're on the run, sometimes we drive around a lot. We're going to meetings, we're going to interviews. I'm doing the research. You see me in the car, like I got my headphones on. I'm not even listening to music. I'm just reading. I'm trying to figure out the next thing. How can I learn the next thing? Because my thing is like, if I can learn it, then I can teach it. And so I'm always trying to learn because I'm always trying to teach. And so that constant like cycle of what's next, what's new, where we looking. All right, bet I got to learn that because I got to teach that. I know Monday people are going to be relying on it. I know in EYLU they're going to be relying on it. So I better know what I'm doing here. And so that research happens every single day, all day. I know you said 3 hours, but I'm like
all day. We're gonna be real. Like if you don't want to be broke, invest your life's time into mastering this. It's crazy. Lot of people are trying to master business. Master investing in the business that have mastered business.
You would think that I'm trading like daily, and I'm not. Like I'm just really just watching the market, seeing the trends.
They said, what's the difference between ChatGPT and Claude?
So Claude, it gives more of a scaled out answer for me. the other day I was talking about, why GEV being a part of a Saudi infrastructure development will benefit it in 2026. And it's going to give me a bunch of different reasonings. With ChatGPT, it gives you general answers, but then it shows you where to get the research from. Once I start getting those like down to the nitty gritty specifics and it starts talking to me about different companies and giving me specific answers, then I'm like, all right, where can I take that? Then the last place, I didn't even say this part, but the perplexity part is like, all right, let's throw this in there. Let's see what they come back with now, right? Because now I done searched. Now I think I got the whole internet, to be honest with you, right? Like if I got Gemini, I got ChatGPT, I got Perplexity, I got Anthropic, I pretty much have scoured the entire web, and it does it for me in a more efficient way. And rather than reading the 15 that I read, I probably read about 5 or 6 every morning, 5 or 6, maybe 7. And that's the Business Insiders, the CNBCs, the Bloombergs, the Wired, Wall Street Journal, Seeking Alpha, Market Watch. So I'm doing those, and then I'll go to I call them my teammates now, because I think we make an all-star team, and the proof is in the pudding after we see the returns that we did this year.
I know you addressed the software side. You cooked on that. To add to, you got to invest more into the hardware too. Like for the audience, especially if you're trading. And I talked about this before, but like one of the biggest breakthroughs that I will talk about that I've had is with the advancement of chips. So I got my desktop built in 22. I made significant upgrades to it this year. You may want to improve that chip stack that you have for your trading. So even if you can shave off a millisecond or a half second of speed to see, especially if you have bigger contracts, to see when the market is turning over to the downside, it may be the difference between you clearing $70,000 or $80,000 in a day and losing $80,000 or $70,000 in a day. So in combination, and once again, it's not my thought, it's what every tech company on earth is doing. Build your own personal data center. Take $5,000 or $10,000 into a custom computer for investing in trading. You're going to see exponential returns there, in addition to the tips he gave on a software and AI side.
Somebody said, "What's up with Uber?" I'm still in Uber, y'all. Uber, I got the call out to 27 or 28. So I asked you about the pill form of the GLP, and the FDA just approved Wegovy for the first weight loss pill. So Novo got it first. We should
who got it first, for the record?
Make America great.
As we move into 2026, are you still comfortable concentrating heavily in mega cap and tech, or are you actively rotating to other areas?
Rotation is an act of suicide. Great question from Kristen. I appreciate you. No, you have to hyper invest into the mega cap or tech. Like even the arguments we're having, NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, Bitcoin, all the cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is tech. It's just a subsector of tech. The answer has been given to you. We don't give a fuck about most commodities. We don't care about the German DAX. The Euro 50 is underwater. Tech is the way to invest. So even if we go into a route 26, 27, it would be an immense buying opportunity for, and the government has put a lot of money into the investment of the data centers and AI. And I told you guys this 4 years ago. Invest in tech. America runs on tech. It's the only advantage we have outside of our military presence. And if we lose that to China, it's over with. But even all the American companies have found a way to invest in China or India to make sure that if America falls, they still have a pillar of success in other continents. Hyper concentration.
Stay there. Don't go nowhere. Stay right there. The answer is no. Yep. Stay with the tech. Stay in that the mags. Like I said, the Mag 7 are going to lead the way. And interestingly enough, I mean, they all have kind of been in this consolidation phase to a certain extent, right? Obviously, Broadcom had that crazy one. They're not even part of the 7, but Broadcom's had a run. Nvidia is kind of like settled in this 175 to 185 range. Microsoft, same thing. Apple had a nice run up. Amazon is back to, Amazon things. It's why I don't do options trades on them, but I own the stock. And so the Meta pulled back. We saw it. It's trying to get over 670 now. There's opportunities, man, and the spending's not going to stop. The innovation's not going to stop, and they all understand what's at stake. So yeah, I'm still there, and all the hyperscalers.
Yeah. Hope for the long term.
Yeah.
For the long term. I gave you the answers the first time.
Yeah.
Y'all just because it was me saying it, some of y'all don't want to hear it. I gave you the answer the first time.
And big year for Tesla too. I think a big year for Tesla. It's a pivotal year for Tesla.
Another tech company.
Yeah. Well, they put them in the 7. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. SpaceX, another tech company.
Yeah. There's an ETF. There's a Mag 7 ETF. If anybody's interested in that, it's a MAGS Mags.
Nike and free fall. Stay away.
Somebody asked the question. They said, how would you propose an asset allocation from a percentage perspective between public markets, private markets, crypto? And when should you branch off from a public if public is number one? I'm not sure what that means, but assuming that you have the ability to invest in private markets, what kind of percentage would you allocate towards a private market, public market, and crypto? Actually, I was sourcing this the other day. Somebody said like 60, 40, 20, something like that. That's what they said.
What was it?
60, 20, 20. They said they put 20% of their money into private companies. They put 60% of their money into like mainstream stock market. And then they put 20% of their money into
you said 60 for which
portion? Dan
Fleischman. Yep.
Fleischman. He said he put 60% of his money into stocks, like regular stocks, Apple, S&P, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He puts, I think 20%. Don't quote me, but
it was like moderate risk, high risk.
20% into like venture capital, high risk venture capital type, And then I think it was like another 20% into like maybe assortment of other more aggressive portfolio, like crypto, stuff like that.
Yeah. It was interesting because his theory was he's such a person that has a high risk tolerance that if he didn't have it that way, the allocation, it would just be all high risk. So he tries to discipline himself, again, discipline, key word, by having that strategy, which I was like, that makes a lot of sense. You know yourself.
Yeah.
You know the type of investor you are.
It's a great allocation. We'll be splitting hairs. I would just say 50, 25, 25, 50% stocks, 25% private companies that are A players and B players. And then 25% cryptocurrency, because the stocks should draw down the least, meaning you should lose the least amount of money. Some private investments can go to zero. Shout out to the founders who capital went to zero. And then cryptocurrencies can have immense drawdowns too, but I think 50, 25, 25. But Dan's brilliant. So brilliant. I like the allocation.
Somebody said, where should I start?
2 Tech 2 Index, VOO, VTI, Microsoft, and Apple hold for 5 years. If it don't work, I'll give you 25 grand. We're not going to ask these questions anymore. Respectfully. But if it don't work, and I hope it don't work, so I can give you 25 grand. But VOO, VTI, Microsoft, Apple.
I'm playing this game with y'all. We're not doing this in 26. We're going to leave this in 25.
This is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm in a really good space. Yo, bring pineapple juice back. All right, I'll act mad. It's hard to be upset when you see your enemies like end up in ruin. It's like I don't even have that vitriol no more. I just want peace and love. But if you don't love me, I love you still. But it'd be funny when them bankruptcy filings pile up. I'm like, damn, you should let me help you, my brother. Allegedly.
Somebody says, is it better to max out a Roth now or put it in an option call, stock, or index fund?
Troy, what you think?
You know what? I have an opinion on it.
Yep.
But there's a guy who actually practiced for 13 to 14 years on giving financial advice. So I'm
we doing a 3-man weave. I'll see.
Yeah. Because it's about risk tolerance, right? Like if you haven't opened a brokerage account, if you haven't invested in indexes or ETFs, and you don't have any shares in any company, should options be your first thing? No, it shouldn't be. I don't encourage it, because that tells me, and I've gotten a few texts about that recently, like, yo, what's the next option play? And I'm like, yo, do you have any shares in anything?
You have to own first.
Like, let's just own. Like that people forget that part of the strategy is like, look, yes, set your table, right? And based on what you have in terms of your indexes and your ETFs, look inside there, right? Get ownership in those companies, right? So if you own SMH and you have NVIDIA, there's a stack there, right? SMH is a semiconductor ETF. NVIDIA is leading that ETF. You own that. All right, well, now let's look. If we believe in that company, we believe in the ETF that's powering it. All right, well, let's see if we can make some money on the growth of that actual company. And so that's when the option contract comes into it. And so a lot of times, I would say 95% of the times, I actually own shares of the companies that I trade options in. Or I'm getting the option contract with the intent to eventually, hopefully, and I know 99% of the times you don't exercise, but I've come into some situations where it's like, all right, this is pretty ideal. I can get a discounted price here. We've already taken out our equity. We've taken out our initial investment. Let's get some shares at a discounted price. But Shadi, your advice would be what?
I mean, it's not mutually exclusive. I mean, as far as the question was, should you do a Roth, or should you do options, or should you do stocks, or should you do index funds? But with the Roth, I mean, you can do index funds, stocks. Theoretically, you could even trade options, but
you can trade options and futures, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. But the Roth is the actual vehicle. So inside of that vehicle, you gotta pick what you want to invest in. So you can definitely invest in an index fund, ETF, or stocks inside of your Roth. So you can actually do both. And the whole benefit with the Roth is that it's a retirement plan. So it's not like it's not just a regular investment. It's an investment that's tied to your retirement. But the benefit is that when you take it out, you're not going to be taxed on. It's going to be tax free when you take it out. That's the benefit of the Roth. So yeah, you definitely want to set your foundation up early. So yeah, definitely start investing before you start trading. Definitely have a retirement plan. If you do not have a retirement plan, you should open a retirement plan for tax purposes, just also for long-term planning, diversify. It's really not even, you don't even necessarily have to diversify your portfolio, but you're diversifying your age ranges of when you actually potentially need money, because you can invest in QQQ in a regular brokerage, you can invest in QQQ in a retirement brokerage. So there's not necessarily diversification on your investments, but it's definitely diversification on your portfolio, because they're different as far as where it's actually going to be taken, and the taxes. The tax structure is going to be different on it as well. So yeah, definitely start there. But a retirement is good. If you don't have a retirement plan is good. And if the number one thing for you is not to necessarily get a tax break this year, if you can go without that, then a Roth is good, because it's definitely more beneficial not to pay taxes later on. But like I said, if you need a tax break, then you do it traditional. But it's good to just have money and never have to pay taxes on it again.
Yeah. Brought you.
Yeah.
All right.
And shout out to chat. No, we're not trading with margin. We're not doing that. We had a
retirement portfolio? No.
No, not trading options with margin either. No, I'm not. And somebody asked about, do you have multiple accounts? I do have multiple brokerage accounts, just to simplify it inside of my E-Trade, and obviously EY University, y'all seen that. So in E-Trade is where I have my options account. Fidelity, I have my indexes, and inside of my Schwab,
yep,
I have my shares. So I got A&D shares there.
Long term.
Yep. I got some Micron shares there, some Apple shares there. So the shares just sit there. And then we got the E-Trade for the options.
Yep, same thing on the future side. Ninja Trader short term, Schwab long term swing trade account for futures, separate Schwab account for Xander and myself, because the temptation will be to trade or invest out of them all. Biggest mistake you can make. That bucket has to be allocated for that one thing. So
Schwab for the great grandchildren. There you go.
There I go.
There you go.
45-year-old woman, 401k recommendations with Fidelity. It's is an on-age target plan. I feel poor, but not missing out. Been investing in my 401k for 20 years. All employers. I guess they're asking what to invest in, but you said target date plan. That's the easy route. So I think you already know the answer. You just got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to it but to do it.
And what number would it take for you not to feel poor?
Good question.
Yeah. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'll put you in Stock Club. And bless you. Nobody else, just that person.
Somebody said, thanks for the picks. I'm up 156% on Micron and 184% on Palantir. I own 14 stocks, 3 ETFs. Should I take profit and add to the ETFs or keep buying individual stocks?
It depends on which individual stocks you have.
Well, Palantir, he said Palantir and Micron for sure, but I guess he's looking at it like if he made that much money on Palantir,
to go to
Micron.
safety, to form it into the ETFs would be a smart move because you'll have less drawdown. And that's the other part too. Like as you accumulate more money, you want to put it into safer buckets or safer assets. So
slower
scenario, ETF should go down 15 to 20%. Worst case. So yeah, park your money there if you've made a significant amount of money.
Palantir is interesting too. When you look at the drawdowns that have happened over definitely in November and December, Palantir is, I mean, another one of these ones that's just kind of, we can talk about how the valuation looks on it and it's overpriced, but it hasn't really just fallen off a cliff. It's kind of just been like settling. But yeah, you want to get safer. Riskier assets, you've made money off of them, put them into safer ones.
Yeah, I think Microsoft, Palantir, I feel they're just hovering where they should be. I think we had like price discovery, tremendous upside, and then I think we're settling in back into a normal range. And for those of you who may have started investing this year, these gains were not normal. These were not normal. This was not a normal year by any stretch of the imagination. Tesla, Palantir, Microsoft, even Netflix before they did the 10-1 split. It's like a tremendous year. Lilly, tremendous year.
What company performed best for you this year?
You said what?
What company performed best for you?
Based on return or based on dollar return?
Just return. Dollar. Yeah, everybody's.
Lilly, because I knew Lilly was gone.
Lilly.
Yeah, Lilly. Like,
what's yours?
Probably my Micron. But somebody said they're up 500% on Palantir, calls $70 strike price. Should they exercise?
All right, so this is tricky because I don't know how much money you got in there. I don't know if you took out your original investment. Here's what I've done. I like to see the equity go up by over $100. So in this example, if you have a $70 call and it's trading at 170, you're up to $100. That's a good sign. Then I start to look at the fundamentals of the company. Could this company actually get back down to 70? In a company like Palantir, which has been, it's well documented how overvalued it is. Could it, in a pullback, in a correction, could it get back there? It could. It could. How much you're in profit will determine it if you do it. But also, I think what people need to realize is in order to exercise, you have to have capital. So, in order,
explain the whole thing because they don't know. They might not know. Exactly.
Yeah. So he's talking about exercising the option. So an option contract, right? It gives you the ability, right? The right, but not the obligation to own 100 shares of an equity at a strike price. So this person's talking about the strike price of $70, right? So we're well past that mark. You're at, I don't know, what's Palantir trading at?
Let me look real quick. 193.
193. So you're $120 above the strike, which you're up 500%, which is great. So you could have the equity from selling that call, or you could have 100 shares at $70. So in order to do that, you would need 100 shares times 70. That would be like $7,000 to buy 100 shares. Once you buy those shares, right, you got it at that $70 value. They already have baked in $120 each share. So $120 for each. So you're at like $12,000. Now you're gonna like, oh wait, I paid 7 to make 12. Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have that for a long-term position now, right? If it's a company that you believe in long-term will be here, then you do it. Some people, most people, I said like 97, 90 to 99% of the time, people say, I just want to sell my contracts and take the profit. Sometimes, in the case like I've had where NVIDIA was up $1,000, I'm like, all right, well, is NVIDIA ever going to get back down to $19 or $20? Probably not. And if it did, the entire world's in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
for
So
real.
if I can own 1,000 shares at this number, you do it because you've taken out your initial investment. It's past 100%. All right, perfect. Then what's your next metric? Is it if it passes 300%? Is it 400%? And then you slowly say, all right, well, I'm gonna save these two just in case this is something that I wanted to keep in my long-term portfolio. I actually did that on Friday with Broadcom. I had the 150 call. Broadcom got up to, I think it was like 360. At its peak was at 412. Got down to 350. I'm still over $100 in the difference. It's like $200. I'm like, all right, same thing. Do I want this in a long-term portfolio? Is this at a point where I can see it ever getting back to? Can we take advantage of this now? Is this going to be one that's going to be leading the future in the AI space? Absolutely. Add it to the portfolio.
And just for my investors and traders, you have to know what percentages you're going to hit in advance. You can use ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, any finance app to give you an estimate for where it should be going. But you have to know before you get into the game if you get 515% when you're going to exit. You have to, because if not, you're going to be up 300% and either short side yourself out of another 100% return or stay in too long and you see a drawback. You have to have a predetermined target in your long-term and short-term trading and investing journey.
And you have to have a belief in what you're doing. That's why I say it's important. And I told this story of, Micron wasn't something that was like, oh, this is definitely going to be a short thing, or why do you believe in it? Number one, I did the research, but number two, when we went to GTC, the first thing I did was look up and like, who's here? What companies are represented here? Because there's a reason they're here. They either partner with them or they're part of the plan to help them scale their business. Micron, we saw, I was like, all right, bet this is a confirmation. The option call that I had, the contract that I had was down 50%, 56%. I have it documented, right? No one cheered at that point. Everyone was skeptical, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. What do we do? What do we do? I said, we're going to sit tight. We believe in this company. We understand the story. That same contract ended up being up 590%.
Yeah.
Right. But, sometimes that's just how it goes. But having conviction in what you believe in and the research that you've done and understanding the entire ecosystem, that happens. But if I didn't believe in it, then it would have been easy. I'm selling this. I'm down 50% of my money. I'm out of here.
Front load to work. And I agree, Troy. And Rashad, I know you said 3, Troy said all day, but like, let's be real. If you want to get rich in America now in this window that we have, stop bullshitting on social media, trying to catch a vibe, being outside. Y'all hated when I said that don't go outside for a number of years. Oh, no one wants to do that. Well, be broke.
Those are your options. That's the option.
And it's the crazy part. You will catch the vibe from doing the work and being great at the work. You're chasing the wrong goal, yo. You want to be lit and be seen and all this other. Double down on the work. And those who have not done it, they will tell you quietly they regret not doubling down on the work. The work becomes the fun and hanging out with your friends and your family, and that you have to have purpose.
Yeah.
The purpose can't be to put other family names on your chest like a brand whore. The goal has to be freedom for your family. But do what you want. But I'll tell you, been on the side of freedom. Oh my God, so much fun. So much fun.
You stressed the WH and whore just now.
Do what you want, though. Then we turn around and tell you about them blackout. They won't even give us a true equity partnership in none of them houses. We could be friends of the brand or quiet aligners on social media, but all right. But if we took over a company and we own the majority shares as a community, we can then say something. But people don't want to own to that level. You just want enough to, and that's fine. But we have to elevate past this. We really do.
2026 is upon us.
Somebody said started a stock learning group with InvestFest attendees. We've been locked in dissecting Ian's slides ever since. Any other topics you guys suggest we study to become stronger investors?
Every episode of Market Mondays. Classic work. We dropped the album every week for 5 years.
Yeah, we're going on 6 now. Yeah. Somebody just asked any options I'm down on. Yeah, I'm down on Tesla. I'm down on not Tesla, Netflix, Uber, a few oracles. Those are off the top of my head, for sure. That's why we buy time.
Yep. The greatest thing you can do is have time on your side in any investment.
Yeah. And the choice expensive going out that far. Well, it's going to cost me more if I go short term.
To get chopped. Yep.
Yep. You choose.
Spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend. 2026. If they want to, really get back on track. Some people fall off the wagon every once in a while, but when we do the next show, it will be in 2 weeks. Try to invite 2 friends to watch Market Mondays that maybe are not watching currently. If everybody can do that, then we can make some real change. So let's try to invite 2 friends. Tell a friend.
Yeah.
Tell a friend. For the next Market Mondays, let's try to have each person bring 2 people.
I'm gonna come back. 26. I'm coming back with my picks for 26. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm not, if you want my picks, they're gonna be in Stock Club only. Go to joinredpanda.com and join the game.
I didn't think that's how that was gonna go. I thought you was gonna say, yeah, I'll throw a few in there.
I'm not. I gave enough. I gave NVIDIA, and everybody collectively went like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it too." All right, like, what was this at in 21, bro? Like, I'll be seeing some of like the remakes of our stuff. I'm like, you didn't like that.
The remix, yeah. This is the remix.
You didn't like that. You didn't know what an asset or liability was prior to. But okay, 2026, new move. Be quiet.
Oh man.
Okay,
I got y'all. I'm gonna get like
no
a
stock
couple.
call. No stock call tomorrow.
No stock call tomorrow, y'all. I got y'all. I got 5. I'm gonna throw out 5 top of the year.
Give you prophecy on my first joint. All named out.
All right, Ian's gonna talk me out of this. All right, forget it. Forget I said it.
No, that be his private equity side. Okay. But yeah, it's been great.
It's been real, man. 2025 has been real. Blessings and mercies on all you and your families. Lives are being changed. Families are being changed. Communities are being changed. All from conversations. And that's the most important thing. The impact has grown this year. People's brokerage accounts have grown, which means their life decisions have grown. More of that in 2026. More of that in 26, y'all.
Double down. You deserve to be rich. Get the book. You deserve to be wealthy. Lock in, yo. And I'm only talking like this because of what is coming. Like, and the people I talk to, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna give y'all some inside ball. Our group chat been so quiet because how hard we working. Like, I just send a text say, yo, y'all good? How y'all feeling?
Blessed.
Working. Work. Everybody at Charlemagne. 200 piece. Work.
Oh. Hey, yo.
Stop all this motherfucker. What you think about?
Hey, yo.
200 million work? That's pause?
Nah, you stopped and then you said work. That's crazy. That was crazy.
Clip me up.
Shout out to Charlotte.
Clip me up.
Yo, shout out to Charlotte.
Come on, man. It's amazing to see your friends and peers get to cooking. And how long Charlemagne been on Breakfast Club and how long he been doing Black Effect? These are all half decade holes. Been on Breakfast Club 15 years. Charlemagne probably owes 700. The 200 is great. He owes 700 for what he's done for that company over there.
Powerful. Yeah. And The Forbes piece was dope. I think he just dropped the interview with Angie. I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, incredible moves that he's making, man. Shout out to him.
Salute to Charlamagne, man. I spoke to him. He's definitely a good dude. And he talked about a lot of that at InvestFest last year with Steve Harvey when he was talking about his roadmap, his vision for Black Effect and everything that he had going on. And, a few months later, he hit that.
It's a few of them. Rich Paul, pressure. Oh God. Charlamagne. Oh my. It's a Junior Bridgman. God rest his soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few people who would have gave you some lifetime gems. Like, just go execute. Go execute.
Yeah, Charlamagne here. Yes, he's doing
Magic Johnson. Oh my. Cook.
Yeah. Don't forget about that.
Doing his numbers, man. So, all right, but yeah, man, appreciate everybody.
Charlie ain't said nothing all episode. Grinding.
Yo,
that boy got the new Final Cut, new MacBook. I'm telling you,
I gotta do this before we go, man. Nephew, happy birthday to Nasir. It's gonna be his birthday next week. We won't be here, so I'm gonna give his happy birthday now. Everybody that has a birthday around the holidays, happy birthday. Anybody that's lost one during the holidays, condolences. I know it's a tough time. Prayers and thoughts go out to you and your loved ones. But yeah, definitely happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to my son on the 28th. My brother on the 29th. Sean on the 30th.
Oh, you got to spend some coin, even though you don't celebrate Christmas.
There's a few people that's born around the end of the year. So shout out to all the end of the year birthdays out there.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. And thank you guys for rocking with us all year. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for, your ongoing support and your ongoing viewership.
And love, yep.
Tap in 2026. Let us know what guests that you would like to see. Let us know any new, you asked for the ticker. We added the ticker. So let us know how you think we can improve programming.
For
anything
sure.
that we can add. Let us know. Any suggestions are welcomed. And yeah, man, hopefully everybody made money this year. If you didn't, for whatever reason, there's always opportunity in the future. So, we headed into this new year. It's a lot going on, but you can only control what you can control. So take your education serious, tap in, and we'll see you in 2026.
Good, man.
Watch Blackout, and earn
Wednesday.
your leisure. Blackout Wednesday, earn your leisure on Thursday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love y'all dearly. From the bottom of my heart. Love y'all despite how I be acting and temperamental. That's for entertainment purposes. Life is good. God is good all the time. But I love y'all dearly. First episode of the year, just put all the stocks that you want prices for. I'm gonna throw y'all some alley-oops this year for sure to start the year right.
There's money to be made. And we're gonna make it, and we're gonna make it together. Let's build our brokerage accounts. Let's build our community. Let's build together. Let's win.
Charlamagne work. Pause. Robin Hood work. Go peep that Vlad interview. And I feel you on Stock of the Year. I ain't gonna hold this, but he looks so poised, and the boy look like he about to be president. They about to have a great year. Oh my God. Vlad, call me. I got an idea tournament.
All right. Stock it. I'm gonna get before I go out. I'll wait next year.
No, I'll give it to him. Pause.
My stock of the year for 26?
Yep.
No, wait till.
I'm gonna wait till next year.
All right, y'all.
Put it in chat if y'all want him to give it tonight. Cliffhanger. I'm going to media training. Tune in 2 weeks.
Tune in. January 5th, 2026. Now we out, y'all. Y'all be good. Love is love.
Y'all. Arrivederci. Pay them invoices too.
Please. Net now.
For real.
Thank you.
We were looking maybe Q2 because the restructuring of the government debt. What that got to do with you?
Net now. Thank you.
For real.